The Torah, the 5 books of Moses. Genesis. When God began to create heaven and earth, the earth being uniform and void, with darkness over the surface of the deep and a wind from God sweeping over the water, God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. God saw that the light was good, and God separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, a first day. God said, "Let there be an expanse in the midst of the water, that it may separate water from water." God made the expanse, and it separated the water which was below the expanse from the water which was above the expanse, and it was so. God called the expanse sky. There was evening, there was morning, a second day. God said, "Let the water below the sky be gathered into one area, that the dry land may appear," and it was so. God called the dry land earth, and the gathering of the waters he called seas. And God saw that this was good. And God said, "Let the earth sprout vegetation, seed-bearing plants, fruit trees of every kind on earth that bear fruit with a seed in it." And it was so. The earth brought forth vegetation, seed-bearing plants of every kind, trees of every kind bearing fruit with a seed in it. And God saw that this was good. There was evening, and there was morning, a third day. God said, "Let there be light in the expanse of the sky to separate day from night. They shall serve as signs for the set times, the day, and the years, and they shall serve as lights in the expanse of the sky to shine upon the earth." And it was so. God made the 2 great lights, the greater light to dominate the day, and the lesser light to dominate the night, and the stars. God set them in the expanse of the sky to shine upon the earth, to dominate the day and the night, and to separate light from darkness. God saw that this was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, a fourth day. God said, "Let the waters bring forth swarms of living creatures and birds that fly above the earth, across the expanse of the sky." God created the great sea monsters and all the living creatures of every kind that creep, which the waters brought forth in swarms, and all the winged birds of every kind. God saw that this was good. God blessed them, saying, "Be fertile and increase, fill the water in the seas, let the birds increase on the earth." And there was evening, and there was morning, a fifth day. God said, "Let the earth bring forth every kind of living creature, cattle, creeping things, wild beasts of every kind." And it was so. God made wild beasts of every kind, and cattle of every kind, and all kinds of creeping things of the earth. And God saw that this was good. God said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness. They shall rule the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, the cattle, whole earth, and all creeping things that creep on earth." And God created man in his image, and in the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them. God blessed them, and God said to them, "Be fertile and increase, fill the earth, master it, and rule the fish of the sea, the birds of the sky, and all living things that creep on earth." God said, "See, I give you every seed-bearing plant that is upon all the earth, every tree that has seed-bearing fruit. They shall be yours for food, and to all the animals on land, all the birds of the sky, and everything that creeps on earth, in which there is the breath of life, I give all the green plants for food." And it was so. And God saw that all he had made, and found it very good. There was evening, there was morning, the sixth day. The heaven and earth were finished, and all their array. On the seventh day God finished the work that he had been doing, and he ceased on the seventh day from all the work that he had done. God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because on it God ceased from all the work of creation that he had done. Such is the story of heaven and earth when they were created. When the Lord God made earth and heaven, when no shrub of the field was yet on earth, and no grasses of the field had yet sprouted, because the Lord God had not sent rain upon the earth, there was no man to till the soil, but a flow would well up from the ground, and water the whole surface of the earth. The Lord God formed man from the dust of the earth. He blew into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living being. The Lord God planted a garden in Eden in the east, and placed there the man whom he had formed. And from the ground the Lord God caused to grow every tree. It was pleasing to the sight and good for food, with the tree of life in the middle of the garden, the tree of knowledge of good and evil. A river issues from Eden to water the garden, and it then divides and becomes 4 branches. The name of the first, Pishon, the one that winds through the whole land of Havilah, where the gold is. The gold of that land is good. Bdellium is there, lapis lazuli. The name of the second river is Gihon, the one of the winds through the whole land of Cush. The name of the third river is Tigris, and the one that flows east of Ashur. And the fourth river is the Euphrates. The Lord God took the man and placed him in the garden of Eden to till it and tend it. And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, Of every tree of the garden you are free to eat, but for the tree of knowledge of good and evil you must not eat of it, for as soon as you eat of it you shall die. The Lord God said, It's not good for man to be alone. I will make a fitting helper for him. Lord God formed out of the earth all the beasts and all the birds of the sky, and brought them to the man to see what he would call them. And whatever the man called each living creature, that would be its name. The man gave names to all the cattle, to the birds of the sky, and to all the wild beasts, but for Adam no fitting helper was found. So the Lord God cast a deep sleep upon the man, and while he slept, he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh at that spot. The Lord God fashioned the rib that he had taken from the man into a woman, and he brought her to the man. Then he said, This one at last is bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh. This one shall be called woman, for from man was she taken. Hence a man leaves his father and mother, clings to his wife, so that they become one flesh. The two of them were naked, the man and his wife, yet they felt no shame. Now the serpent was the shrewdest of all the wild beasts that the Lord God had made. He said to the woman, Did God really say, You shall not eat of any tree of the garden? The woman replied to the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the other trees of the garden. It is only about fruit of the tree of the middle of the garden that God said, You shall not eat of it, or touch it, lest you die. And the serpent said to the woman, You're not going to die, but God knows that as soon as you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like divine beings who know good and bad. When the woman saw that the tree was good for eating and a delight to the eyes, that the tree was desirable as a source of wisdom, she took of its fruit and ate. She also gave some to her husband, and he ate. Then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they perceived that they were naked. And they sewed together fig leaves and made themselves loincloths. They heard the sound of the Lord God moving about in the garden the breezy time of day. The man and his wife hid from the Lord God among the trees of the garden. The Lord God called out to the man and said to him, Where are you? He replied, I heard the sound of you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid. Then he asked, Who told you you were naked? Did you eat of the tree which I had forbidden you to eat? The man said, The woman you put at my side. She gave me of the tree, and I ate. And the Lord God said to the woman, What is this you have done? The woman replied, The serpent duped me, and I ate. Then the Lord God said to the serpent, Because you did this, more cursed shall you be than all cattle, all the wild beasts. On your belly shall you crawl, and dirt shall you eat all the days of your life. I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. They shall strike at your head, and you shall strike at their heel. And to the woman he said, I will make most severe your pangs in childbearing. In pain shall you bear children, yet your urge shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you. To Adam he said, Because you did as your wife said, and ate of the tree, about which I commanded you, you shall not eat of it. Cursed be the ground because of you. By toil shall you eat of it, all the days of your life. Thorns and thistles shall it sprout for you. But your food shall be of the grasses of the field. By the sweat of your brow shall you get bread to eat, until you return to the ground. For from it you were taken, for dust you are, and to dust you shall return. The man named his wife Eve, because she was the mother of all the living. And the Lord God made garments of skins for Adam and his wife, and clothed them. Lord God said, Now that the man has become like one of us, knowing good and bad, what if he should stretch out his hand and take also from the tree of life and eat, and live forever? So the Lord God banished them from the Garden of Eden, to till the soil from which he had taken. He drove the man out, stationed east of the Garden of Eden, the cherubim, and the fiery, ever-turning sword, to guard the way to the tree of life. Now the man knew his wife Eve, and she conceived and bore Cain, saying, I have gained a male child with the help of the Lord. She then bore his brother Abel. Abel became a keeper of sheep, and Cain became a tiller of the soil. In the course of time, Cain brought an offering to the Lord from the fruit of the soil. And Abel for his part brought the choicest of the firstlings of his flock. The Lord paid heed to Abel and his offering, but to Cain and his offering he paid no heed. Cain was much distressed, and his face fell. The Lord said to Cain, Why are you distressed, and why is your face fallen? Surely if you do right, there is uplift. But if you do not do right, sin crouches at your door. Its urges toward you, yet you can be its master. Cain said to his brother Abel, and when they were in the field, Cain set upon his brother Abel and killed him. The Lord said to Cain, Where is your brother Abel? And he said, I do not know, and am I my brother's keeper? Then he said, "What have you done? Hark, your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. Therefore you shall be more cursed than the ground, which opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. If you till the soil, it shall no longer yield its strength to you. You shall become a ceaseless wanderer on earth." Cain said to the Lord, "My punishment is too great to bear. Since you banished me for this day from the soil, I must avoid your presence and become a restless wanderer on earth. Anyone who meets me may kill me." The Lord said to him, "I promise, if anyone kills Cain, sevenfold vengeance shall be taken on him." And the Lord put a mark on Cain, lest anyone who met him should kill him. Cain left the presence of the Lord and settled in the land of Nod, east of Eden. Cain knew his wife. She conceived and bore Enoch. And he then founded a city and named the city after his son Enoch. To Enoch was born Irad. Irad begot Mehujael, and Mehujael begot Methusael. Methusael begot Lamech. Lamech took to himself 2 wives, the name of one Adah, and the name of the other Zillah. Adah bore Jabal. He was the ancestor of those who dwell in tents and amidst herds. And the name of his brother was Jubal. He was the ancestor of all who play the lyre and the pipe. As for Zillah, she bore Tubal-Cain, who forged all implements of copper and iron. And the sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah. And Lamech said to his wives, Adah and Zillah, "Hear my voice, O wives of Lamech. Give ear to my speech. I have slain a man for wounding me, and a lad for bruising me. If Cain is avenged sevenfold, then Lamech 77-fold. Adam knew his wife again. She bore a son and named him Seth, meaning, God has provided me with another offspring in place of Abel, for Cain had killed him. And to Seth, in turn, a son was born, and he named him Enosh. It was then that men began to invoke the Lord by name. This is a record of Adam's line. When God created man, he made him in the likeness of God. Male and female he created them. And when they were created, he blessed them and called them man. When Adam had lived 130 years, he begot a son in his likeness, after his image, and he named him Seth. After the birth of Seth, Adam lived 800 years and begot sons and daughters. All the days that Adam lived came to 930 years, and he died. When Seth had lived 105 years, he begot Enosh. After the birth of Enosh, Seth lived 807 years and begot sons and daughters. All the days of Seth came to 912 years, then he died. When Enosh had lived 90 years, he begot Kenan. After the birth of Kenan, Enosh lived 815 years and begot sons and daughters. All the days of Enosh came to 905 years, then he died. When Kenan had lived 70 years, he begot Mahalalel. After the birth of Mahalalel, Kenan lived 840 years and begot sons and daughters. All the days of Kenan came to 910 years, then he died. When Mahalalel had lived 65 years, he begot Jared. After the birth of Jared, Mahalalel lived 830 years and begot sons and daughters. All the days of Mahalalel came to 895 years, then he died. When Jared had lived 162 years, he begot Enoch. After the birth of Enoch, Jared lived 800 years and begot sons and daughters. All the days of Jared came to 962 years. Then he died. When Enoch had lived 65 years, he begot Methuselah. After the birth of Methuselah, Enoch walked with God 300 years, and he begot sons and daughters. All the days of Enoch came to 365 years. Enoch walked with God. Then he was no more, for God took him. When Methuselah had lived 187 years, he begot Lamech. After the birth of Lamech, Methuselah lived 782 years and begot sons and daughters. All the days of Methuselah came to 969 years. Then he died. When Lamech had lived 182 years, he begot a son, and he named him Noah, saying, This one will provide us relief from our work and from the toil of our hands, out of the very soil which the Lord placed under a curse. After the birth of Noah, Lamech lived 595 years and begot sons and daughters. All the days of Lamech came to 777 years. Then he died. When Noah had lived 500 years, Noah begot Shem, Ham, and Japheth. When men began to increase on earth, and daughters were born to them, the divine beings saw how beautiful the daughters of men were, took wives from among them, those that pleased them. The Lord said, My breath shall not abide in man forever, since he too is flesh, that the days allowed him be 120 years. It was then and later too that the Nephilim appeared on earth, with the divine beings cohabited with the daughters of men, who bore them offspring. They were the heroes of old, the men of renown. The Lord saw how great man's wickedness on earth, and how every plan devised by his mind was nothing but evil all the time. And the Lord regretted that he had made man on earth, and his heart was saddened. The Lord said, I will blot out from the earth the men whom I created, men together with beasts, creeping things, and birds of the sky. For I regret that I made them. But Noah found favor with the Lord. This is the line of Noah. Noah was a righteous man. He was blameless in his age. Noah walked with God. Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth became corrupt before God. The earth was filled with lawlessness. When God saw how corrupt the earth was, for all flesh had corrupted its way on earth, God said to Noah, I have decided to put an end to all flesh, for the earth is filled with lawlessness because of them. I am about to destroy them with the earth. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood. Make it an ark with compartments. Cover it inside and out with pitch. This is how you shall make it. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, its width 50 cubits, its height 30 cubits. Make an opening for daylight in the ark, and terminate it within a cubit of the top. But the entrance to the ark in its side, make it with bottom, second, and third decks. For my part, I am about to bring the flood, waters upon the earth, to destroy all flesh under the sky, in which there is a breath of life. Everything on earth shall perish. But I will establish my covenant with you. You shall enter the ark with your sons, your wife, and your sons' wives, and all of lives of all flesh. You shall take 2 of each into the ark, to keep alive with you. They shall be male and female, from birds of every kind, cattle of every kind of creeping thing on earth. 2 of each shall come to you to stay alive for your part. Take of everything that is eaten and store it away to serve as food for you and for them. Noah did so, just as God commanded him, so he did. Then the Lord said to Noah, Go into the ark with all your household. For you alone have I found righteous before me in this generation. Of every clean animal you shall take 7 pairs, male and their mates. And of every animal that is not clean, 2, a male and its mate. Of the birds of the sky also 7 pair, male and female, to keep seed alive upon all the earth. For in 7 days' time I will make it rain upon the earth. 40 days, 40 nights, I will blot out the earth, all existence that I created. And Noah did just as the Lord commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the flood came, waters upon the earth. Noah and his sons, his wife, his sons' wives went into the ark because of the waters of the flood. Of the clean animals, of the animals that are not clean, of the birds, and of everything that creeps on the ground, 2 of each, male and female, came to Noah into the ark, as God had commanded Noah. And on the 7th day the waters of the flood came upon the earth, in the 600th year of Noah's life. In the 2nd month of the 17th day of the month, on that day all the fountains of the great deep burst open, and the floodgates of the sky broke open. The rain fell on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. That same day Noah and Noah's sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth went into the ark, with Noah's wife and the 3 wives of his sons. They and all the beasts of every kind, all cattle of every kind, all creatures of every kind that creep on the earth, and all birds of every kind, every bird, every winged thing. They came to Noah into the ark, 2 each of all flesh, into which there was a breath of life. Thus they that entered comprised male and female of all flesh, as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. The flood continued 40 days on the earth, and the waters increased and raised the ark so that it rose above the earth. The waters swelled and increased greatly upon the earth, and the ark drifted upon the water. When the waters had swelled much more upon the earth, all the highest mountains everywhere under the sky were covered. 15 cubits higher did the waters swell, as the mountains were covered. And all flesh that stirred on earth perished, birds, cattle, beasts, and all things that swarmed upon the earth, and all mankind. All in whose nostrils were the merest breath of life. All that was on dry land died. All existence on earth was blotted out. Man, cattle, creeping things, birds of the sky, that was blotted out from the earth. Only Noah was left, and those with him in the ark. When the waters had swelled on the earth 150 days, God remembered Noah and all the beasts and all the cattle that were with him in the ark, and God caused a wind to blow across the earth, and the waters subsided. The fountains of the deep and the floodgates of the sky were stopped up, and the rain from the sky was held back, the waters that receded steadily from the earth. At the end of 150 days, the water diminished, so that in the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, the ark came to a rest on the mountains of Ararat. The waters went on diminishing until the 10th month, and the 10th month, on the 1st of the month, The top of the mountains became visible. At the end of 40 days Noah opened the window of the ark that he had made and sent out the raven. It went to and fro upon the waters, had dried up from the earth. Then he sent out the dove to see whether the waters had decreased from the surface of the ground. But the dove could not find a resting place for its foot, and returned to him to the ark, for there was water all over the earth. So putting out his hand, he took it into the ark with him. He waited another 7 days, and again sent out the dove from the ark. The dove came back to him toward evening, and there in its bill was a plucked off olive leaf. Then Noah knew that the waters had decreased on the earth. He waited still another 7 days, and sent the dove forth, and it did not return to him any more. In the 601st year, in the first month, on the first of the month, the waters began to dry from the earth, and when Noah removed the covering of the ark, he saw that the surface of the ground was drying. And in the second month, on the 27th day of the month, the earth was dry. God spoke to Noah, saying, Come out of the ark, together with your wife, your sons, and your sons' wives. Bring out with you every living thing of all flesh that is with you, birds, animals, everything that creeps on earth. Let them swarm on the earth, and be fertile and increase on earth. So Noah came out, together with his sons, his wife, and his sons' wives. Every animal, every creeping thing, every bird, everything that stirs on the earth, came out of the ark by families. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord, and taking of every clean animal, of every clean bird, he offered burnt offerings on the altar. The Lord smelled the pleasing odor, and the Lord said to himself, Never again will I doom the earth because of man, since the devisings of man's mind are evil from his youth, nor will I ever again destroy every living being, as I have done. So long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night, shall not cease. God blessed Noah and his sons, and said to them, Be fertile and increase, and fill the earth. The fear and the dread you shall be upon all the beasts of the earth, and upon all the birds of the sky, everything with which the earth is astir, and upon all the fish of the sea. They are given into your hand. Every creature that lives shall be yours to eat. As with the green grasses, I give all these. You must not, however, eat flesh with its life blood in it. But for your own life blood I will require a reckoning. I will require it of every beast, of man too. Will I require a reckoning for human life, of every man for that of his fellow man. Whoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed, for in his image did God make man. Be fertile then, and increase, abound on the earth, and increase on it. Be fertile. And God said to Noah, and to his sons with him, I now establish my covenant with you, and your offspring to come, and with every living thing that is with you, birds, cattle, and every wild beast as well. All that they have come out of the ark, every living thing on earth. I will maintain my covenant with you. Never again shall all flesh be cut off by the waters of a flood. Never again shall there be a flood to destroy the earth. God further said, This is the sign that I have set for the covenant between me and you, and every living creature with you, for all ages to come. I have set my bow in the clouds, and it shall serve as a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. When I bring clouds over the earth, and the bow appears in the clouds, I will remember my covenant between me and you and every living creature among all flesh, that all waters shall never again become a flood to destroy all flesh. When the bow is in the clouds, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant between God and all living creatures, all flesh that is on earth. That, God said to Noah, shall be the sign of the covenant that I have established between me and all flesh that is on earth. The sons of Noah who came out of the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth, Ham being the father of Canaan. These three were the sons of Noah, and from these the whole world branched out. Noah, the tiller of the soil, was the first to plant a vineyard. He drank of the wine and became drunk, and he uncovered himself within his tent. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw his father's nakedness, told his brothers outside. But Shem and Japheth took a cloth, placed it against both their backs, and walking backward, they covered their father's nakedness. Their faces were turned the other way, so that they did not see their father's nakedness. When Noah woke up from his wine and learned what his youngest son had done to him, he said, Cursed be Canaan, the lowest of slaves, shall he be to his brothers. And he said, Blessed be the Lord, the God of Shem. Let Canaan be a slave to them. May God enlarge Japheth, and let them dwell in the tents of Shem, and let Canaan be a slave to them. Noah lived after the flood 350 years, and all the days of Noah came to 950 years, then he died. These are the lines of Shem, Ham, and Japheth, the sons of Noah. Sons were born to them after the flood. The descendants of Japheth, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tiras. Descendants of Gomer, Ashkenaz, Riphath, Togarmah. The descendants of Javan, Elijah, Tarnish, Kittim, and Dodanim. From these the maritime nations branched out. These are descendants of Japheth by their lands, each with its language, their clans, and their nations. The descendants of Ham, Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. The descendants of Cush, Zebah, Havilah, Zabta, Ramah, and Sabteka. The descendants of Ramah, Sheba, and Dedan. Cush also begot Nimrod, who was the first man of might on earth. He was a mighty hunter by the grace of the Lord. Hence a saying, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter by the grace of the Lord. The mainstays of his kingdom were Babylon, Erech, Akkad, Calneh, and the land of Shinar. From that land Ashar went forth and built Nineveh, Rehoboth, Calah, and Rezin, between Nineveh and Calah. That is a great city. And Merzim begot the Ludim, Anamim, Lahampim, Naphtuhim, and the Pathrusim, the Casluhim, and the Caphtorim, whence the Philistines came forth. Canaan begot Sidon, his firstborn, Heth, and the Jebusites, Amorites, Girgashites, and the Hivites, Archites, Sinites, Arvadites, Zemartites, and the Hamathites. Afterward, the clans of Canaanites spread out. The original Canaanite territory extended from Sidon and far as Gazar, near Gaza, and as far as Sodom, Gomorrah, Admar, and Zeboim, near Lasha. These are the descendants of Ham according to their clans and languages, by their lands and nations, sons who were born to Shem, ancestor of all the descendants of Ebor and older brother of Japheth, descendants of Shem, Elam, Asher, Arpachshad, Lud, and Aram. The descendants of Aram, Uz, Hul, Gether, and Mash. Arpachshad begot Shelah. Shelah begot Eber. 2 sons were born to Eber. The name of the first was Peleg, for his days on the earth were divided. And the name of his brother was Joktan. Joktan begot Almodad, Sheleth, Hazarmaveth, Jerah, Hadaram, Uzal, Diklah, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. All these were the descendants of Joktan. Their settlements extended from Meshur as far as Sephar, the hill country, to the east. These are the descendants of Shem according to their clans and languages, by their lands according to their nations. These are the groupings of Noah's descendants according to their origins, by their nations. From these the nations branched out over the earth after the flood. Everyone on earth had the same language and the same words. As they migrated from the earth, they came upon the valley of the land of Shinar and settled there. They said to one another, "Come, let us make bricks and burn them hard." Bricks served them as stone, and bitumen served them as mortar. And they said, "Come, let us build us a city, a tower with its top to the sky, to make a name for ourselves, else we shall be scattered all over the world." The Lord came down to look at the city and the tower the man had built. And the Lord said, "If as one people with one language for all, this is how they have begun to act, then nothing that they may propose to do will be out of their reach. Let us then go down, confound their speech there, so that they shall not understand one another's speech." Thus the Lord God scattered them from there over the face of the earth, and they stopped building the city. That is why it was called Babel, because there was the Lord confounded the speech of the whole earth, and from there the Lord scattered them over the face of the whole earth. This is the line of Shem. Shem was 100 years old when he begot Arpachshad, 2 years after the flood. After the birth of Arpachshad, Shem lived 500 years and begot sons and daughters. When Arpachshad had lived 35 years and begot Shelah. After the birth of Shelah, Arpachshad lived 403 years and begot sons and daughters. When Shelah had lived 30 years, he begot Eber. After the birth of Eber, Shelah lived 403 years and begot sons and daughters. When Eber had lived 34 years, he begot Peleg. After the birth of Peleg, Eber lived 430 years and begot sons and daughters. When Peleg had lived 30 years, he begot Reu. After the birth of Reu, Peleg lived 209 years and begot sons and daughters. When Reu had lived 32 years, he begot Serug. After the birth of Serug, Reu lived 207 years and begot sons and daughters. When Serug had lived 30 years, he begot Nahor. After the birth of Nahor, Serug lived 200 years and begot sons and daughters. When Nahor had lived 29 years, he begot Terah. After the birth of Terah, Nahor lived 119 years and begot sons and daughters. When Terah had lived 70 years, he begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Now this is the line of Terah. Terah begot Abram, Nahor, Haran, and Haran begot Lot. Haran died in the lifetime of his father Terah in his native land Ur of the Chaldeans. Abram and Nahor took to themselves wives, the name of Abram's wife being Sarai, and that of Nahor's wife Milcah. the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah and Iscah. Now Sarai was barren, she had no child. Terah took his son Abram, his grandson Lot, the son of Haran, and his daughter-in-law Sarai, the wife of his son Abram, and they set out together from Ur of the Chaldeans for the land of Canaan. But when they had come as far as Haran, they settled there. The days of Terah came to 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. The Lord said to Abram, Go forth from your native land and from your father's house to the land that I will show you. I will make of you a great nation. I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and curse him that curses you, and all the families of the earth shall bless themselves by you. Abram went forth as the Lord had commanded him, and Lot went with him. Abram was 75 years old when he left Haran. Abram took his wife Sarai and his brother's son Lot, and all the wealth that they had amassed, and the persons that they had acquired in Haran, and they set out for the land of Canaan. When they arrived in the land of Canaan, Abram passed through the land as far as the site of Shechem, as the terebinth of